Inaugural coverage of Sol Rally Barbados 2014. Over 75 drivers had launched their attack on the asphalt roads of the Caribbean island of Barbados. Up for grabs was the 2014 Sol Rally Barbados title, over a total of 128 competitive stage kilometers. However, by the end of the second day, there were over 30 crews who had dropped out of the overall running. Defending champion United Kingdom's Paul Bird. England's Bird had won all 10 stages he contested, until an accident on stage 11 ended his hopes of repeating. Leading the rally at the start of the third and final day was local ace Roger the Sheriff Skeet, while he was followed by United Kingdom's Rob Swan and Trinidad's John Penty Powell.
Eminem racing.
Barbados' Roger Skeet and Louis Venezia had been rewarded for their consistency and inherited the lead after the demise of Paul Bird. Skeet's advantage at the start of the day was 26 seconds, and after the first loop of stages on day 3, it was the same margin. United Kingdom's Rob Swan was the one giving the chase.
20, left 4 in, don't cut, crest mid long, sign, right 5, to right 5, through dip, 20, crest right 4, narrow, 30, right 6 go, 150, crest mid 20, turn left 1, don't cut, 200, absolute crest mid, 200, sign, crest mid 30, left 5 in, right 5, 80, left 6 slowing, turn left 2, 30, right.
However, just 5 seconds behind Swan after the first loop of the final day was completed was Trinidad's John Powell. Paul, the surfer born, started day 3 23 seconds behind third place Powell and only managed to close the gap by 2 seconds after 3 days. The battle for 5th place and the WRC2 lead was intense between England's Kevin Proctor and countryman Roger Duckworth. Proctor had led at the start of the day with less than a second separating the two. And it was Roger Duckworth that was leading WRC2 after stage 16 by just under a second. Barbados' Roger Hill was third in the WRC2 battle but out of striking distance as he was about 1 minute off the leaders in the class. Jamaica's Jeffrey Panton was on the charge after losing 2 minutes to the front runners on the very first stage. However, he started off day 3 with a string of consecutive stage victories and had moved from outside the top 70 to 7th overall. Rhett Watson was the leader of the two-wheel drive battle and Super Modified 12. However, he was being hunted by Andrew Jones, who was 40 seconds behind and leading Super Modified 11. Clark made a mistake in stage 16, which cost him about a minute. It also cost him the lead on Modified 7 as he slipped down the overall standings by 8 places. Andrew Malulu was the Group N leader and 11th overall after stage 16. Northern Ireland's Frank Kelly was second in Super Modified 11 on day 3, but out of striking distance of class leader Andrew Jones. Cliff Rowitt in the Toyota Starlet nicknamed Flow Glow was leading Super Modified 10. Turks and Caicos' Paul Horton had inherited the Modified 7 lead from Darrell Clark after the first loop. England's Nigel Warswick was third in Super Modified 11. Neil Corbin was the Modified 6 leader and in a 4-way battle for 15th. That battle included Group A leader Rupert Lomax from Wales, who was about 3 seconds ahead of Corbin. Also in that chase was Justin Campbell. Second in Super Modified 12, Campbell was less than a half second adrift of Lomax and about 3 seconds ahead of Corbin, who was just over half a second ahead of Cliff Rowitt. England's Martin Stockdale had only managed to complete one stage on day 2 with a transmission problem, but was back out and running for the final day. Wales's Gary Thomas got in 3 stages before mechanical gremlin struck on day 2. He too was able to restart on the final day. As though he was on ice, Greg Cozier gliding his Ford Escort through Bushy Park. He was leading the historic class. Speaking about gliding and sliding, Jeffrey Elliott was doing it and leading Group B1. Scotland's Alan McKay was at it again, causing the crowd to jump up and down. He was second in Super Modified 10. Roger Skeet finally won his first stage of the rally when the second loop started. He was fastest through the 5.5-kilometer long Bushy Park stage and extended his lead at the front to 29 seconds. If nothing else, Rob Swan was consistent in the second loop. Second fastest through the Bushy Park stage, second fastest on the 6 kilometer Kendall stage and second fastest on the 6.2 kilometer Malvern stage. Oh, and he was second overall. A small error which cost John Powell about 10 seconds on stage 18 was enough to give Rob Swan some breathing room in the battle for second place. Paul Bourne was only managing to take small chunks out of third place John Powell, and after the second loop, he had moved from 21 seconds behind to 14 seconds. Jeffrey Panton's rampage continued and his streak of stage victories was only broke on stage 17 when Skeet beat him. However, he continued to rack up the fastest times, winning stage 18 and 19 and moving into 7th overall. Northern Ireland's Joe McKillen was second in Group A and inside the top 20 before he missed stage 19. England's Tim Green was second in Group N, but 4 minutes behind the class leader Andrew Malalou. Andrew Costin Hurley was leading Group B2. Sammy Cumberbatch was third in the Super Modified 12 battle and rounded off the top 20. Sliding his way around the stages was Stuart McClary, who was fourth in Super Modified 11. Eric Allenby was leading the clubman class and doing it in style. England's Stuart Dealey was third in Group B. Northern Ireland's John Hardman was leading Super Modified 9 in his Nissan Micra. Wayne Archer was third in the historic class. Second in the clubman class was Conor Roach. Dane Skeet had restarted on the final day and was setting times in the top 10 before he was forced to retire once again. Josh Reed was also setting top 10 stage times after he overcame his brake issues that caused him to miss a stage on the second day. Rob Smith and Ross Weir had a narrow escape on day 2 and they were back in the battle for WRC2 class but out of the overall hunt. Brian Gill missed out of the stages on day 2. Fabian Clark was still in the overall running of Sol Rally Barbados 2014.